5 minutes after 7 o'clock in Trinidad and Tobago. Good to have you with us. Good to have you still with us on this Wednesday with the many options that you have for your morning information, entertainment. Some people have different attitudes towards what they want from morning programming, whether it be to be aggravated even more, to be worked up, to be energized, to be amused, to enjoy a lively discussion. People watch or listen for different reasons. The fact that you're with us means that you see some value in it, and we appreciate your continued watching, viewing, and following of this program. Are you in the mood for some motivation? Well, Motivational Speaking International, they're hosting a workshop that takes place on Saturday at Nedco's San Fernando office at the Naparima Mayaro Road. It takes place from 9 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's entitled Striving for Solutions for Successful Living. As we mentioned, the event is at Nedco's office, and to tell us more, we're joined by psychology lecturer at the University of the Southern Caribbean and life coach Imo Bakari. He's been on this program before talking about similar events and occasions. A very good morning to you, Mr. Bakari.
Yeah,
good to have you on the program. Let me give you the basic information of the event as well. The cost for the exercise is $500. You can register up until tomorrow, in fact up until Friday, today being Wednesday, because the event comes up on Saturday morning from 9 until 1 in the afternoon. You can call 778-5141, that's 778-5141, or email irbakari@yahoo.com. That's irbakari @yahoo.com for more information. So, Mr. Bakari, what is this particular session going to be about?
Well, first and foremost, pleasant good morning to all the viewers throughout Trinidad and Tobago. This program is premised on the fact that the human condition needs to be improved in many ways. All right, some people are doing well, others are severely challenged. Whatever the status may be, there must be this unending desire to find solutions that can work, that could improve our human condition. So this is the fundamental overarching context.
Right. And we're talking about solution, as you've described it, solutions for successful living. Many people will have different ideas of what constitutes successful living. Is it more money, more material possessions, greater contentment, greater peace of mind? How would you define in this particular case, successful living?
Well, you are quite correct. Different people will define it differently. Some are maintaining a consistent state of contentment, peace of mind. That is their success. Some look to make an extra dollar. Some may look to maintain good health. So the definition will vary. However, there are certain fundamentals that we cannot ignore. For example, we have a problem of childhood obesity in Trinidad and Tobago. And some of those solutions are available, but many people refuse to use those solutions. All right?
Yeah, go ahead. But yeah, for example, in that case, aren't we essentially talking about things that are pretty obvious? For example, the case of obesity. Cut out the fast food. Cut out all the junk food that is offered to children as cheap as it is. Some will say that a lot of what is being offered as new way of thinking is really common sense thinking. Why is it so difficult for people to avoid these obvious bad habits?
Well, culture, the home culture, probably the community culture. So if you have a culture of bad eating that has been perpetuated from generation to generation, that cultural mode will not be so easy to overturn. All right, and as we all know, providing information alone does not do the trick.
True.
So to change our mindset is a work in progress, a work in process, and we need to keep on plugging, because the cost eventually to the state and to the families, the costs are very, very high,
Let's talk about some of the issues that you're going to be touching on Saturday morning. And again, the event is at Nedco San Fernando office, and that's on Naparima Mayaro Road in Coquille from 9 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. Just looking at some of the issues: preservation of self in an environment of heightened criminality, increase your earning power, developing your personal brand, building and strengthening of networks, becoming truly educated, increasing your spirituality, alignment with the divine, and much more. Is 4 hours enough time to touch on all of these issues?
Well, these issues can be discussed for years upon years, all right? But, perspectives are going to be presented. But even more important than that, we have people who will be attending, and they will have their own ideas that they will bring to the table. So we need to create forums whereby people can be given the opportunity to bring their solutions to bear. And in Trinidad and Tobago, sometimes we have a lot of consultations taking place, but most time it is premised on some kind of blueprint that is brought to the table. I'm saying that we could start from scratch and make everyone involved at whatever level they may be part of the process in terms of defining, one, the roadmap and the possible solution.
Is that realistic? The reason I ask is that everybody has a grounding from somewhere, wherever that is. Mm-hmm. So people start with their preconceived notions about many different things. So is it possible to actually start a dialogue completely from scratch?
Well, that is debatable, and it all depends on the objectives you have set. Mm-hmm. All right. However, if you give people more opportunities where they could really feel that they are central and not being imposed upon, I think they're going to feel a greater commitment to drive the process forward. Now, solutions, as I said at the beginning, this is a whole process that is constantly unfolding, because many people are hurrying for solutions, and sometimes that may be the problem.
And that may be it. Some people might be thinking, best I attend this thing, and I could come out of it after 1 o'clock in the afternoon a transformed person. As you said, some people, because we're a fast food society in many respects, mm-hmm. Are people essentially going to be, do you have this experience that people may be walking in expecting immediate returns without realizing that, as you said, it's a process, it's a work in process,
right.
Work in progress?
Right, so I said, we have to work at the psychological level to let people understand that in anything that you're doing, if you do it incrementally and celebrate the small successes, you have a greater motivation to go forward. Once you are too hurried and trying to force the process, normally you could be frustrated along the way. All right?
How many people are you catering for this exercise on Saturday?
Well, the venue is not a very large venue. We could hold about probably 25 to 30 persons at the
And is it going to be yourself doing the presentation, or are other people going to be involved?
No, I'll be doing the presentation personally.
And when we talk about, you're talking about a group, it's probably is good when you have a smaller group, a focus group that you could work with individually. Do you find that because you've done many of these motivational speaking sessions before, do you find that you have repeat customers, if that is the correct term, that people come and want the discourse to be continued?
Of course, I have had a number of customers over the years. I've been doing these workshops since 1998, so I have a readily available database that I tap into in terms of promoting this program besides coming on these shows.
Yes.
To talk about it, And I guess if people are returning, they are getting
obviously see some value in it. So you've been doing this for 16 years now. Have the demands of the clientele changed over that 16-year period? Because from 1998 to 2014, a lot of things have happened with people's lives in Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of things would have happened globally. Have people's priorities, from your discussion with people, have they changed in any significant way over that time?
Well, you have different types of clientele, you have different types of workshop, and then some people will come to a workshop that will have a more direct appeal. All right, this is very broad, so I guess that different people looking at the different sub areas will have different things that they are looking at. For example, one of the things we spoke about is alignment with the divine.
Yeah.
I mean, you from your faith perspective, you all have just come out from the period of Ramadan.
Correct.
And fasting and that kind of stuff. And you all have a lot of beautiful principles in terms of charity, purity of thought, purity of action, sincerity. And I mean, these principles are very, very, very important in terms of inculcating into the minds of people to the point where it can be practiced. So more people practicing those principles certainly can lead along the pathway of life to differences, positive differences taking place.
I'm glad you made the distinction of positive differences, because there could also be negative differences, as you would be aware in any form of spirituality, and I appreciate your kind words in relation to Ramadan and Islam and so on. But the fact is that you also have people who misinterpret scripture, who manipulate scripture deliberately, as is being done even in the Muslim community, for acts of violence to justify the killing of innocent people. And that is where maybe some people might say, increasing your spirituality, is that necessarily a good thing, depending on what track you go, or can it be a bad thing if you become some kind of rabid fanatic?
Well, of course, and it all again boils down to how you define spirituality. Some people's definition of spirituality is not based on probably a God context. All right. However, the spirit of man, that in a desire to move forward, to do, but to what end?
Yes.
All right.
Because sometimes you wonder if the spirituality is actually losing essentially, there seems to be a lot of evil around us. I mean, the fact that people will want to manipulate children, to abuse them sexually, that people will want to do all sorts of despicable things. There's a lot of evil around. Is there more evil around now than there would have been previously?
Well, I mean, I don't have the evidence, but at least the extent to which it's highlighted could easily give the impression.
Or is it just that there's more media around to highlight what might have been going on before?
That very well could be the case. There may be other factors, but it is in our eyes, it is readily available, because media is very powerful now.
Sure.
And I am saying that those who believe they are good, who say they are good, it is not enough just to say it. So if you are driven by good, pure thoughts, you need to act it out. Right? Because the problems that we are besetted with, the point about it is that if more people become actors, because we have many commentators in Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm saying that we can listen to the commentary, talk as is necessary, put strategies in place that could, take the process forward, whether at a personal level or at a collective level.
And how does a session like this allow people, because there'll be a lot of talk, yes, but hopefully putting people in a particular direction to get some clarity in their lives, some purpose to their lives. How does this then translate into action? Do you have like follow-ups with your customers, and so to get a sense, do they come back to you and say, I'm having some issues dealing with this or that or the other, give me some more advice if you can? How does it work?
Right, well, at a private level, I'm into life coaching also, so follow-up could take place at that level. However, I am going to be highlighting that there is a need to look at coming up with practical ideas, not overly ambitious things that really don't make sense in terms of its implementation. So we're going to be looking at people discussing in groups, identifying a number of areas that can be worked upon within a short space of time.
Are people realistic when they come to sessions like this? Do people say, I want to be a millionaire by next year. I want to own so many cars and have this or are there expectations different? What sort of mixture do you get?
Well, I think you're going to get a mix, but it's the responsibility of the facilitator to ground whatever is being said in reality and put that framework and keep that context and drive that context. All right. For example, a car is a great convenience. Many people drive even when they should be walking. So a simple solution, if you are not exercising at all, driving for every single living thing under the sun, do more walking.
And it's so simple. I mean, we just have a few seconds left, Mr. Bakari, but something as simple as that. People just to go from here to around the corner will drive, rather than just take a walk and get some exercise and maybe feel a little better physically.
Right.
Is there something in our DNA that prevents us from doing the common sense thing?
Well, I won't speak to that, but what I'm saying is that those of us who know better, first of all, we're going to be the example. We're going to be an advocate. For example, the young lady from Pakistan.
Yes, Malala Yousafzai.
Right. Iram Batur wrote a very beautiful article in that, many other persons can be like her. But what is your level of conviction? All
Absolutely.
Right? Against the odds, to stand for what you believe in, to drive the process, to promote it, So if we have that kind of passion and drive coming forward, certainly we can create significant differences.
In fact, I think Attorney at Law Gillian.
All right, so you want to remind...
before we conclude, let's remind everybody about the event that is coming up. It's on Saturday at Nedco San Fernando office, Naparima Mayaro Road in Coquille, from 9 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a half-day workshop with you in mind, striving for solutions for successful living. We've mentioned a number of the areas that will be touched upon. It's $500. You can contact 778-5141 to register for the event up until Friday. You could also email irbakari, that's IRBAKARI at yahoo.com. Refreshments will be served. You'll receive a certificate of participation as well. And let's hope, Mr. Bakari, that all goes well and people actually benefit from the exercise. I suspect that they will. Thanks very much once again for coming in. It's coming up towards 7:20 in Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be back right after this.